We are live. Welcome. I'm Vic, and I was just talking with a friend of mine about why is attention mattering to your business. And I just thought, I'd jump on live and just share with all of you, my subscribers, about this concept of attention and why is it so important, whether you're doing emails or landing pages or websites or whatever your business is, pay attention because you're going to get some nuggets here that will really, really impact it. Ain, we've been friends for about 7 years and working on this super secret project that we might maybe hint at maybe a little bit later. But why does attention matter to your business?
Yeah, it was funny when we were talking about that. Everybody has their own ideas on what attention even really is.
Yeah.
It's important to understand just really quick the science behind this whole thing. And it's very confusing. So I'll just dumb it right down because it's a very long explanation. But what it comes down to is there are two parts of your brain that release a chemical called dopamine. Um, Neurons produce these chemicals, and basically those chemicals mess around with other parts of your brain that are responsible for you making decisions. And let me repeat that. Every decision that you make is controlled by chemicals in your brain. And it's kind of freaky to tell people that because they're like, whoa, I thought I was in control. And the truth of the matter is they're really not. So what it breaks down to is this. Like, and again, really tough concept for some people to get their head around, but literally everything that you do, every decision you make, every thought you have, every movement you make, everything you do, what makes you fall in love is all about this chemical dopamine. And as long as you understand that and you think about that in the different areas of your marketing, it makes it a lot easier and a lot less friction for the buyer to understand your message and get your information and be able to do, you know, uh, everything that they normally have to do in their research process when they're making decisions about what they're going to buy. If you think about this, I don't know about you, but when I go to look for something to buy, when I'm shopping, girlfriend, I do my research. You know what I'm saying? I don't sit there and just look at the TV and pick the next product that comes up in front of me. I'm taking what I learned from all the advertising and I'm shoving it into the usually Google and I'm trying to do some research. Now, some people research, some people buy on impulse, but everybody buys because of a little unknown chemical in your brain called dopamine, which basically controls everything that we do anyhow. So, attention is a phenomenon that is produced by those neurons bringing all of those sensory informations from all of the, you see, well, I should back this up a little bit. The entire dopamine infrastructure of your brain, okay, is basically designed to do one thing, and that's motivate you to do something. And usually, if there's a reward involved, like getting something that you want, like especially when you're buying stuff, there's always sort of a feeling of reward because you're getting what you want or what you need, and it's going to make your troubles go away, right? And when you truly have that moment, you really feel good about it. That's dopamine rushing through your brain, telling you that there's going to be a reward. You walk into the kitchen, you see your mom cooking chocolate chip cookies, you get that smell in the air. You get that rush, that feeling of, ooh, I can't wait to have a cookie. There's so many different things in this world that cause that to happen. And so from that process becomes a habitual fixation of their eyes on whatever it is that is causing them to feel that way. And that is what attention really is. A little complex, but it's the act of using a drug to force you to stare at something. And that drug is in your brain, right? It's a chemical produced by your brain. So it's kind of like, it's a sad, sad way to put it, but it's kind of like getting you so high, you just can't take your eyes off something, right? So the trick is in business is how to not present your information in a way that works against that process. Okay, that's why visuals, like this presentation, is completely not visual today. There's very little visuals going on, right? If you want to encourage people to feel good about things, usually visualizing what it is and what it is going to be like at the end of their visual experience is probably something that will help them to want to, feel good about the information they're receiving, especially if that is a relevant visual topic that makes sense and helps to project them to the point of satisfaction. They're past the purchase. They've got past that. They've made their purchase and now they feel good about it. And they actually feel whole about it at that point. You've made them whole because that's what they really wanted to do, was obtain that object. Now, some people are fanatical about that. They go shopping, they just impulse purchase stuff, and they get an instant rush of, feeling good. And then they're back down into the middle of the mall, down to the next store to go get it happen again at a new store. But when it comes to online shoppers, it's a completely different picture. Online shoppers are more prone to being annoyed by poorly put together websites, lacking visuals, too much information on the page, too many words. You ever come to a website and you look at all these millions of words and you're just, what the hell? Break it up, buddy. Do some formatting, do something. This is cognitive dissonance at work, and it works against your attention span, makes you want to not look at whatever is causing you that state of overwhelm, right? Same thing happens when you go to a website that's poorly organized and you can't find anything, and you're there to just find that one thing you were looking at and you can't find it. They don't provide you any tools to make it easy, and the layout of the menu system and everything else is just so poorly done that it just gives you nothing but stress. So you leave. That might make the difference between shopping at Home Hardware, shopping at Home Depot. That might be what gets you back in your car driving all the way across town because you just spent 2 hours wasting your time and it doesn't look like they have what you're after, right? So you decide, screw it, I'm just going to, go shop somewhere else. And that's why attention is so important to your business. Makes sense?
Yeah, it sounds like basically this whole game really is about pleasure, right? So, for example, when we're listening to a piece of music, let's say it's rock and roll, you got the rock and you're kind of like jamming out. And what that does is the exercise causes your heart to increase. You feel good, especially if it's a catchy tune. And then that, like, I oftentimes, when I have to do a really tedious task, I put on some really, really heavy rock, and that kind of pumps me up. And I use that chemistry to drive me to the task at hand. But what you're saying now is really key, is business owners need to think about that as they are wanting someone to enter their store, right? It's, someone described it to me years ago. They call it the thrill of buying, right? That's what they want, is they want the thrill of buying.
Yep.
It's that purchase process. And you know this as well as I do. There's so many products launched every single day, every single week. There's always a launch. There's a launch every single day. And most of these products, people will buy them based on the feeling they get from the sales page. And you know this, maybe 4% will ever open the email and actually use the product. I'm guilty of that myself, right? I bought your product, Video Maker FX, and I used it once and then I shelved it. That was it. So it's the thrill of buying. And what's funny is, I think it's now been, how many years is that? 5 years?
Yeah, that was a long time ago. But you know what?
I'm still paying monthly for that. Yeah. I'm still paying monthly for that product. And I used it once.
You should actually use it. So that
I know.
thrill,
Yeah.
That thrill you were talking about?
Yeah.
That's that buzz. It's literally a tingle up your spine. In fact, if you break open and read studies on this subject, and by the way, you guys can feel free to Google this. You'll find out everything I'm telling you is true. The reality is that thrill is actually a buzz. It's a neurological sensation. It runs up and down your nervous system. It gives you a tingle in the areas of the brain where it's most prominent. It'll literally run down the back of your neck and across the top of your shoulders, and you'll feel it, and you know it when you feel it. It's like that girl that you always had a crush on when you look at her, you know. It's that donut or whatever it was when you were a kid that you always wanted to have but you couldn't get. And when you see one and you can have one, that feeling, that's dopamine, man. It's running through you. It runs through everybody. It controls everything we do. They're even finding it in animals, and they're even finding it in plants, for God's sakes. It's actually considered to be the molecule of life, but let's not go that deep. It does control everything we do, and it's very interesting stuff. So the question is, how do you take that information and translate it into a marketing campaign? Well, that's what we're going to be talking about later this week, and I hope everybody shows up to that, because I'll tell you, we put a lot of work into that one. But the reality is that it'll actually open your eyes to a whole new way of putting together your websites, your marketing advertising, everything you do with your presentations and anything to do with marketing your business. But the interesting thing is this conversation started today as a result of Vic and I looking at some test results from some emailing that he was doing this morning. And he called me up and he said, "Hey, what's the deal here?" And I looked, and he's got 4 different email subject lines. Actually, they're the same subject line. The only difference between them was, and I believe they went to all the same number of people as well.
Yeah,
And
they are. It's a split test. One of the things we do is we take an audience. It's always defined by a finite number. In this particular one, it's something like around 1,800. It's a small sample. So then like 900 people immediately get this email, and then they're opening it over the next 4 hours, and we're seeing which ones cause them to click. And what's really fascinating is then the winner is sent the entire amount. And then we look at those stats, okay? And then based on those results, we send it to a larger audience, and then a larger audience, typically like 10 times. So give or take, 2,000 people see the first letter, 20,000 people see the second one. But the second one, the 20,000, goes out based on the results of the first 2,000. And there's a reason why we do this. And it's simply to train the algorithm, because if our most engaged people are opening our emails, that trains the algorithm that people want to see our emails and they like our emails. And then it will help the larger set to be delivered because there's already proof. It's kind of like, you know, why would an investor put money into your company if you have no sales? Right? That's the first question they ask you on Shark Tank. How many sales do you have? What's your conversion rate?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So the cool thing about like this whole test, like I do a lot of conversion testing, you know, and one of the things I said to Vic was asking me, "What do you want to do with this one? You know, do you want to show somebody this?" And he put it in front of me. I looked at it and went, "Hell yeah, there's some nice numbers there." But here's the thing. I noticed that, you know, it only had 2 emojis in 3 of them, or sorry, 2 of them, 3 emojis in one of them, and no emojis in the 4th. And it was very interesting. And this will bear out. We'll update you guys tomorrow. But it seems like the one with the extra emoji got triple the open rates. And I said, wow, need to report that. That's attention. That's attention at work. That's people paying attention to the subject line, getting a bit of a resonation, and wanting to see what's on the other side, right?
Yeah, it's actually now approximately the one with no emojis is, interestingly enough, producing better results than the ones with 2 emojis, but the one with 3 emojis is performing more than double of the one with no emojis.
With none. Yeah,
which is completely, I would never have guessed it. Would you like to see the what it looks like?
Yeah, pull it up for sure. Let's have
all right, here, I'm just going to paste it right in here.
Attention is all about, right? You know, you're using a visual item in the subject
Are
line
you
of an
seeing that?
email. Nope, we're still looking at the whiteboard.
There it is.
So can you show the other three all on one? Can you show all four on one screen? Is that possible?
Yeah. Let me do that. They're called experiments, A, B, C, and D.
Can we see
Okay.
the numbers at the same time too?
No, but I can draw them in.
Okay.
Yeah, let me draw them in.
This is a very interesting point to be made here, though. You know, I myself, from the generation that I come from, could give a shit about emojis. I think they're a distraction. I do not open mails that have them unless I know who it is that wrote them.
Right.
So there's something to be said for that. I'm not sure what.
Well,
But
I have
clearly-
in my generation, you know, the top 100 songs that people are listening to on the airwaves.
Yeah.
I don't listen to a single one of them. Whereas
Interesting.
in my generation, when I was in high school, I listened to almost every single one of them because it was classic rock and roll. I'm a classic rock and roll guy. I like the Doobie Brothers, Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, and Metallica, you know, when I'm really wanting to grind it out. But, you know, the funny thing is that the stuff that kids are listening to these days,
Yeah.
I don't even know. I mean, there's a few of them that I like, but as it turns out, those are even 10 years old. All right, so now you can see all four of them. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. See, there you go.
So if I look at the numbers, let's see if I can bring up a laser pointer. I think I can. Yeah, let me bring up a pen. Okay. This one is doing, it's okay. It's okay because it is doing that. This one's about a half of this, and this one's about a half. Okay. Now this one is I'm going to give you the exact number right now. Bear with me. I'm going to bring up my calculator.
Man, you got nice handwriting, brother.
Thank you very much.
You should see mine.
Well, that's with a mouse. It's not even a tablet. I should be using a tablet.
Yeah.
All right. So, okay. So let's go in here. 12.
When you say half of what?
Hold on a second.
Man.
Okay, so it's 235% more opens. 235%.
Number D or letter D there?
D is 235% performing better than this.
Oh, okay, so it's lost a little bit of steam since we first talked.
It's getting steam. Yeah.
Yeah, technically it lost a little bit of steam because it was exactly 3x when you first told me. I did the mental math and went, wow.
Yeah, I went down a little bit, but still.
Oh, yeah, but still. Yeah, we're advocating. You know, I mean, it comes down, look, it's the only difference here. I mean, so we could get a better control on the next test. So what we could do is we could do 2 emojis, utilizing the recycled leftovers of the ones that didn't perform well. So the common denominator is the eyeballs. Okay.
Yeah, let me look at the loser. And this is something I do with my oftentimes my split testing.
Yeah.
I call it triple split testing, whereas most people do 2, I do 3. So what I do is I look at the loser, and the loser is this one. Okay.
Okay.
And I think what it is that there is a symbol of email, Okay. And then there's the word email, and it doesn't really land. Okay. The flame increases things a little bit, but it's only by neck and neck. I mean, these two are neck and neck with each other. Right?
Yeah, what's happening here is relevance didn't save you on the first one.
Right.
Relevance probably hurt you on the second one, and direction is giving you the big boost on D. Direction of the finger pointing at anytime you direct the human eye,
Yeah.
you improve attention span on the subject. Imagine this. It's not a smiley face, so we're not getting a good buzzy goody feeling out of that because of a smiley face. It's just a hand pointing you in this direction, right? It's not an arrow, which we're getting really used to arrows. So a hand pointing tends to kind of gently, without offense, point your eyes in that direction. It's all about direction. And the green check mark, I mean, that's a trust symbol. So we might be getting a trust bias there. It would be interesting to see if the next test, what you should do, leave the eyeballs exactly the same, leave the hand the same, remove the check mark, and see if there's a measurable difference.
Let me just, are you seeing my screen there?
Yeah.
Let me go remove the.
It's a bit messed up, but
yeah, I got to remove the. remove. Okay, there we go.
There we go.
Okay. So let me go back here with a laser pointer now. And basically, as you can see right over here,
yeah,
the flame out of thousands of SociSnap users, which is our emoji editor that lots of people are using every single day, the flame is a little bit overused. The second most popular emoji is the finger pointing left. But that's largely because I believe it's just like in Facebook, you can put two arrows in a carrot, but on YouTube, you cannot put you can't put a forward bracket, because it's been shown that means, okay, pay attention to this, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
but this is in terms of popular.
Yeah, it's direction that's given the boost to the popularity right there for sure.
Yeah. But see, what I tried to do is, I mean, we could test the explosion. That was really popular for a while. But this checkbox and the finger pointing down, for some reason, this is across thousands of users, right? Statistically speaking, a lot of people like the money bag. They like the question mark. A lot of people like the little eyeballs, money, exclamation point, arrow pointing left. But it goes from least popular to least popular. Okay.
Yep.
And so I think this is a really, really interesting finding. All right. So what were we doing, and why were we writing this in a cursive font? We talked about that earlier. There's a technique you mentioned, the name of it. I can't remember the name of it, but it sounded like a great idea to capture attention.
And I'm sorry you broke up there, Vic. Can you repeat that?
Yeah. Talking about this cursive font. What is it about attention that the cursive, or like, for example, a lot of people probably were wondering, okay, Vic, why are you using a cursive font? I said, well, because normally when I'm sitting down in class and I'm wanting to take notes, I grab a pen, right? Like I have a pen right here, and I grab a notebook and I'm taking physical notes. Because we're on a computer, I want you to have the feeling of what it would be like to grab a pen and a paper and actually take notes. And something happens in the brain that I think you learn better when you actually take your hand and you draw with, in a good old-fashioned manner.
Yeah, I can explain that, actually.
Yeah, maybe you could explain that.
And just FYI, I got a meeting I got to get into soon, so I'm going to make this quick.
Okay.
So basically, it's the same stimuli in the brain that is involved when you watch a doodle video. So what's happening is, and as we all know, doodle videos get really high results when they're properly done, correct?
Right.
So basically, I had to sneak in a drink of water there. So basically, as you're writing, when you write, unless you're just an incredibly fast writer, most people take a little more time. Okay. So the information that they're thinking about and that they're writing about is committed to memory much easier because, and for longer, they can remember it for longer because it took them some time to produce it. They spent more time paying attention to it. It's really that simple. So what's happening is the creative juices, basically, which are dopamine, again, especially when it comes to creative writing, they're a little on the addictive side too. So because you're running a lot higher level of sensory information through your brain and your dopamine is at a little bit higher level, it helps you to remember the experience. Any data that you absorb during that experience will naturally be absorbed and retained longer. The opposite is also true, interestingly enough. If the experience is extremely high stress, like, you're in a foxhole, World War I, bombs going off all around you, you might not be able to remember the first chapter of a book you're trying to read when the first bomb hit. You know what I'm saying? You might forget all about that.
Right, but I think what happens though is that trauma goes into your subconscious to be triggered later.
Yeah, that is also true.
And that's why a lot of veterans in particular are challenged.
And that's a cognitive overload, right? Is what
happens. It's cognitive overload. But here's a question,
right?
Why wouldn't it then, I still have one last question and then I think we should call it.
Yeah.
We see these launches where there's a timer and there's a sense of scarcity and there's a sense of pressure that you have to buy by a certain time.
Yeah.
And it seems that creates a high stress situation. Why is that effective and almost essential to generate sales of any kind in today's high-speed world?
Great question. So basically, it is stressful, but it's a very minor stress. It's just a timer on a screen, so we don't get freaked out by it. But we do tend to get into a slightly agitated point of mind. And in that type of a state of mind, or when you're just a little annoyed with the situation, you kind of want to bring it to a conclusion. So the logical side of your brain starts wrestling with the emotional side of the brain. The logic side of the brain is telling you, hey, I need this product. Actually, this is going to actually fix me up, quick. It's going to make my problems go away, or it's going to make my belly feel good. Whatever the reason that you're looking at that product is, your logical side of the brain starts fighting with your emotional side, forcing you to make a decision. If the emotional side can't come up with good reasons not to make the purchase, such as, we don't have $2 left on the credit card, then likely you're going to make that purchase because you need it.
Right. And that's basically cart abandonment right there.
Or you want it. Yeah. Well, yeah. Cart abandonment is bam. I mean, as soon as I don't need it, I don't want it right now. That's exactly what cart abandonment is.
Go away.
Yeah, get me the out of here.
Yeah.
It's really that simple. Anytime you're dealing with fulfilling somebody's need, or whether it's logical or emotional needs, it doesn't matter. Emotional, that's what makes you make impulse purchases. Oh, damn, I got to have, like I was saying the other day, my friend Matt with the nerd slippers, got to have them. Guy goes berserk talking about the nerd slippers. If you put something in front of somebody that they resonate with and they want to have as a status symbol or any other reason, they will have an emotional attachment to it. There's no logic involved here. The only logical decision they have to make is, do I have enough money on this card to get this product? That's all they give a rip about. They do not want to get delayed. They push the logical side of their brain out of the way, and they make the purchase on a purely emotional need. Exactly the opposite when you're hungry and you need food. Well, there is a little emotional involved there too, but it's mainly a logical decision. Yeah, I kind of need food. And when I need food, I need to take care of that problem. And that's basically it. So
interesting, you would say logical decision for food instead of an emotional decision. But I guess
both.
Maybe junk food is an emotional decision. And let's say healthy food like a salad,
yes,
is a logical decision.
Yep.
Motivated by pain. If you don't have that salad, it's going to be a rough night.
Well, food is primarily a
Yeah.
survival thing. And because of that, it sits in the logical domain.
Yeah.
However, as we all know, when that piece of chocolate cake staring at us in the fridge,
Oh, yeah.
there's some emotional going on there too. But yeah, that's it in a nutshell. And people overcomplicate this. They need to just detach themselves from all the rumors of fancy,
Yep.
establishments with well put together displays, and uh, this website only has this product, and there's nobody else that's selling this product. All those decisions need to be kind of secondary to what the brain decides. If your brain is pushing you to make a purchase, there's probably a reason. If it's pulling you back, there's even more of a reason. And sometimes we just got to listen to our brain. But other times, you also have to think about, what was it about this sales pitch that actually made sense to me? And was it an emotional decision, or was it a logical decision? Because sometimes those emotional decisions, you're better off keeping that money in your wallet, right?
Got it. I think the best one would be something that captivates both the emotions and the logic. And I think that's probably why our email subjects were working so well, because the emojis capture the emotion, and then the logic is the actual words around it. And that's probably why we're seeing almost triple the engagement when you combine the two. Interesting. Awesome. Well, let's
I
talk
think
about the
there's
schedule.
just to jump in before we go. I think
Yep.
it's probably more likely the combination of the two
Mhm.
directive emojis. One is the eyeballs looking over at the sentence, and the other one is the finger pointing at the word email. That's strong direction, keeping people focused on the whole message as a whole, for just an extra moment to see that third emoji, because they do tend to look at them, right? Remember
Right.
that. People do look at these emojis and try and, does it make sense to me at all, or is this just a trick? You know?
Yep. Yep. Wow. So we've got a couple of Zoom webinars happening live, and those are happening. Actually, the subject is both webinars. Email is great is the topic of the first webinar. That's tomorrow and Tuesday. And then, but it can't do this is on Thursday. That's basically a nutshell of this week's live shows. And we're going to show you what email can't do on Thursday. Or if you go to the links in the description, or head on over to attentionmasters.com, and you can get an early sneak peek preview of the technology that my friend here has created with his partner, that I think is gonna, to me, it's even cooler than the invention of online video. So
thank you.
yeah. So email is great, but it can't do this. Tomorrow we're going to talk about why email is great. And then on Thursday, we're going to talk about what it can't do, and how when you combine both of them, you're actually, that's what we're doing, my friend.
Let's do it.
All right. I'll see you guys in the next one. If you got some value from today's video, please put a like bump on it, because that's even more important than subscribe. I assume all of you already are subscribers. That tells YouTube, hey, we like this kind of content. Show us more of it. And a little nugget for you guys out there in YouTube land: the colors that you have in your videos need to be consistent. So you can expect, I can almost guarantee it, that a lot of the future videos that we'll be having on this channel will be following this sort of open whiteboard kind of format. Because if you like this style, and as we now know, it's the perfect way to learn, we're going to make a lot more of them. I'm Vic with Mr. Hatman with the Hatman channel, and peace out. We'll see you at the next one. Thanks, Zane, for coming on, man.
Have a good one.
All right, we'll see you at the next one.